upstairs, facing the window to the backyard. Directly across from me stands the open-hearted birch. At least that's how I refer to it. Visible only when the leaves are not out, one of its branches curves up and around and down, then quickly up and around and down again, like this, reaching toward the main trunk, not quite closing the gap. It is the shape of an open heart, welcoming me into its embrace. Casting my gaze downward to the altar table before me, a vase of daffodils so full of color greets me. One is all white, with a ruffled cone at the center. I focus on that spot that seems to go on forever. A hint of green, the further in it goes. I close my eyes and breathe.
I have in mind to play y'all a brand new song.
I am one with that bloom, and by extension, all the rest beyond the confines.
Well, pretty brand new anyway. Wrote it a couple of months ago.
I know
And we're just
myself
trying it
as
out on
part
people.
of the earth.
We're still a little bit skittish about it, but so far people seem to like it pretty well. So we're practicing it up right here on stage before your
In
eyes.
our reading this morning from Thich Nhat Hanh's
I was thinking
Letters
one
to the
night
Earth,
about
he speaks
I was
to
thinking
our
one night
planet
about
as
the
a
planet,
mother.
and I was thinking about
Speaks of the deep
conversation that I
connection
had with a
between
friend of mine down
all
in
of his
Texas,
activities
Tom Noe, who
and
has
hers.
an interesting relationship to
And
the
his wish
cosmos.
is to be
And,
awakened in such a way
I
that
started thinking
this
about
awareness is with him
gods
at
and
all
goddesses, and I
times
started thinking,
and in all
well, more
places.
about goddesses.
To know oneself as one with the earth.
My thought often wanders in
Several
that
of
direction.
you shared
Anyhow,
your
but
earth connections with me, and
so I
was
woke up
honored
the
by
next
the
morning with this
invitation
song
into
in my
this
head,
intimacy
and
that
it's not one I can
experience.
take credit for having written.
When we think
Like
of the
Dylan
earth,
says,
we
I
think
just wrote it
sometimes
down.
of just the
25
solid
minutes
ground.
later, I had the whole thing.
And I was reminded that the earth is made up of water and sky as well. Being in the water and all the sensations, the way it feels and smells and tastes, a sense of total immersion and connection to this fragile home. Childhood memories bubbled up, playing in the dirt, make-believe baking in the dirt, cookie cutters nearby to form the shapes you shared with friends. And gardening, too. For so many of us, it is a way to enter into our connections and interdependence with the earth. Weeding and composting, planting seeds and growing vegetables and the gorgeous blooms that the earth gifts us with. And thinning baby carrots, real baby carrots, brushing off the soil and popping them in your mouth, these sweet treats adding joy to the work. And rooting out the weeds as good therapy and a good metaphor for rooting out the world's problems, making space for goodness to grow. Thich Nhat Hanh says elsewhere that, quote, when we suffer, the earth embraces us, accepts us, and restores our energy, making us strong and stable again. The relief that we seek is right under our feet, end quote. For one of you, this became apparent as you gazed up at the sky, a feeling of groundedness and support, of safety enough to wander into the great beyond. But he speaks here of mutuality and reciprocity. We give to the earth, and in turn, we receive what we need. Not the other way around, giving the priority. We can learn from the earth, whose generosity seems unbounded. Can we begin from this place? We have talked before about this concept and the work and writings of Indigenous biologist Robert Wall Kimmerer, She shares about the formation of lichens, about scientists trying to force this connection of algae and fungus in a petri dish, which just didn't work. They did their best to create the perfect conditions, but nope, no lichens. It wasn't until the conditions became harsh and stressful that the two began to turn to each other to cooperate. When life becomes tenuous in times of scarcity, we turn to reciprocity to keep us on track. This lichen experiment, a marvelous metaphor for humanity to take a lesson from. How individualistic do we need to become before the wheel turns? This past week was Earth Day and Arbor Day, too. Days we set aside to recall our connections to our planet, to the trees and their good contributions to life. And we dial in to the state of the earth, more so as time passes and our dear Gaia cries out more and more. We're good for a week or two, maybe a month, and then back we go about our business. And I want to know why this annual ritual isn't more of our business. I arrived at the 100th day of the 100 days of reconnecting with sacred earth from Randy Woodley this week, who reminds us that we are part of the community of creation. He calls for respect for all of life and harmonious living with people and nature, for equality of voice, and I think here about listening to the voice of our earth home. He talks about generosity, and lastly, accountability. Going back to our opening, inspired by Joseph Campbell, I am invited to consider myself as arising out of the earth instead of being plopped down on it. To be its eyes and ears and consciousness and voice. And when I think of it that way, I wonder why we don't take better care of it all. When we are unwell in our physical bodies, we get ourselves to a healthcare provider to find out what is amiss and how to heal. We know how to heal this earthen part of ourselves, but we linger as if it wasn't a piece of a whole, as if we weren't pieces of a whole. This reciprocity can go in different directions. When we are generous and respectful, healing happens. When we are not, it does not. We reap what we sow, as the saying goes. Reciprocity. The proposed Article 2 bylaw revisions say that we honor the interdependent web of all existence with reverence for the great web of life, and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. And that we covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation, create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality and justice, work to repair harm and damaged relationships. Our values speak of honoring and respecting this connection we have to all of humanity, to all of existence. The language calls us to action, protecting, nurturing, consideration of sustainability, and responding in kind. Yesterday, a group of us from the Meeting House participated in the Chatham Town cleanup, sponsored by the Conservation Fund. A small thing, but it was wonderful to see so many people out exercising their interconnectedness to our planet. We heal the world one step at a time, moment by moment. Perhaps our senses have been dulled by our surroundings, not as much here on this spit of land stretching out into the sea, but the larger we of this earth. As one of you mentioned, we have plenty of asphalt, and our veggies come wrapped in plastic so much of the time. And we care about our earth and contribute to healing causes, but this doesn't always feel like enough. So I wonder with you if it wouldn't do us all some good to dig into the earth around us, feel the soil between our fingers, dip our toes into the water, spend some time where the air is fresh and breathe it in. I wonder if it wouldn't be a part of the healing process, this reconnecting, this visceral sense of oneness, enticing us into relationships of accountability and reciprocity on a deeper level that can't be so easily denied. So I know that some of you have brought soil, earth, with you today from a place that gives you peace, or where you found maybe your power or your joy, maybe a garden or a playground, a hiking trail, a treasured resting place, perhaps the sea. And I want to invite you forward to share your dirt with this community by adding it to the planter here on the table. And if you didn't bring any soil, please come forward anyway. Always a contingency plan. And take a little trowelful here from our container and add it into the pot. And I will add a scoop for those who are on Zoom. And in this way, we are all connected to each other and our earth home. So this is for the Zoom folks. There. So after the service, we'll take this planter and the African daisy down by the thrift shop door and plant them together as a reminder of our interdependence with this earth, this Unitarian Universalist community, and the wider community that enters through these doors all summer long. So let's share our earth. Nice. Nice. So let's offer our blessings on this earth, and that will, in fact, be your response. Blessings on this earth. Reminded of our connections to this earth home, we offer gratitude for all it supplies us with: grounding, sustenance, safety, blessings on this earth. We bring these symbols of connection from the places where we know it most deeply, joining them with those of others. We are one in community. Blessings on this earth. In our awareness of the intimacy and the reciprocity of our place in this wider ecosystem, we draw inspiration from each breath, from the beauty we see around us, from the feel of earth beneath us and as it passes through our fingers. Blessings on this earth. We bless this earth we have gathered and that which holds us through our respect, our generosity, and our accountability, vital parts of this community of creation. Blessings on this earth. So our